So this video is about the Canvas, specifically the CHEM 125 lab class in Canvas. When you come here on the left side and you click on the courses, again, your screen might look quite different than mine, as I'm an instructor. So when you come on this link here and you click on that, you'll find your class, and then you'll come into the CH125 lab. You may not come in here too much because all the labs are being done through late night labs, and that will be in my next video, how to navigate in late night labs, starting with the very first lab, which is the orientation lab. Anyway, I just want to go over what is available to you here in Canvas in this class. So again, your screen might look quite different, as I said, from mine. But there's, after you've done the quiz on the academic integrity, then as you go down, you scroll down, you will see the available resources to orient yourself with late night labs. So here, when you click on this, you'll be able to access the the lab manual for students. This is all the labs, procedures, etc., the background and procedures for all of the 15 labs. Now, this is just a copy. You don't even have to come here to reference the labs because the lab manual is available on late night labs itself. So anytime you open up a lab in LNL or late night labs, you will see the lab manual appearing on the right side of your screen for each lab. So you may not even need to come in here to look here. The next link is for logging into late night lab. So you will need this the first time to log in, and then you can bookmark your page and save all your login information. So when you click on this, you will see this is for students and the other one is for the instructor. So you'll click on that to register for late night labs, and you put in all your information, etc. Okay, so we'll go back into modules. And so once you've done that, you're going to be registering using your credit card to get access into late night labs. So a lot of students complain about the cost for getting access to late night labs, but this is in lieu of buying a lab manual. If you were to do labs in a physical environment, you would have to buy a lab manual that comes with the class, and so therefore the cost of access is basically like the cost of buying a lab manual. Now this link, I won't click on this right now, but this is just a YouTube video, a short video, which would give you an introductory video to the virtual lab environment in late night labs. So you may or may not want to look at it. It is good if you do. There is the person who uploaded this video is actually going through one of the chemistry labs. Again, it's an added tool for you to look at. Now, anytime you have any kind of difficulties, lab support is what you would be contacting. And so here you have their 800 number as well as the email. And again, in a workday week, you can contact them through phone if you want an immediate response, or email them, and they are pretty fast in getting back to you to solve your problem. So rather than emailing me and wasting time, it would be best to have them field your technical problems and difficulties, and they are very good at promptly resolving your issues. So again, coming back to where we were, um, the course name. So once you get registered, you find the course, and this is the course name. This is CHEM 125L 2017. So that's the name of the course in Late Night Labs. And then you'll be prompted for a section code to join the class, and the section code is 79237486. Okay, so this information is needed, especially the section code, in order to join the class. Now, this link is just a one-page document, and it tells you about the scientific method. The scientific method is a way to write up your lab reports, which has specific headings that you are required to fill in. So any lab write-up in the scientific method requires you to go through certain subheadings, all right, starting with the purpose or the aim of the experiment, all right? So basically, the scientific method, the way it's applied to anything that you do, it doesn't necessarily have to be a chemistry experiment. It could be anything that you observe and that you want to research the reason behind your observation, and you want to design an experiment, and you want to propose a hypothesis, which is an educated guess to explain that phenomena that you're observing, all right? So for example, Sir Isaac Newton observed an apple falling down from a tree, and so his question was, why is the apple falling downwards? And his hypothesis was that there is a force, which he named it as gravity, that is pulling the apple down onto the ground. And then he set about experiments to test out his hypothesis. So basically, you start out with a purpose or the aim for the experiment. And then the next section is hypothesis, making an educated guess. This is simply about what you think. Why do you think this is happening? All right. So like I explained with the example of the apple, all right. He thought it was a force called gravity that was pulling the apple down to the ground. Okay. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's strictly about what you think. You're making a guess based on your previous experience and knowledge about what might be the reason that you have an aim for the experiment, and then you are proposing a reason for the outcome of the experiment. All right, so that's what you are doing, making a prediction for the outcome, and then you go about trying to test out your prediction. And so you gather up all your materials needed in terms of glassware, the equipment, the chemicals, the instruments, whether it's a balance, a weighing balance, or a pH meter or a thermometer, all of those things, all right? So you list all of your equipment, your materials that you've gathered for the experiment, and then you go about detailing your procedure or the recipe, the steps that you're going to undertake in order to prove your hypothesis or disprove your hypothesis, depending on how the experiment that you designed, what the results that come from that experiment that you designed. Okay. Again, to be more organized, you could have a bulleted list about how you went about designing your experiment and the steps that you followed. Or you could just write it without a list, but in as much detail as possible, so that the person who is reading your lab write-up is able to follow along what you did. And then you're going to record your observations or your data. And data is can be either qualitative, which is either how something looks, like shape or color, or it could be quantitative in terms of a number followed by a unit, a measurement, such as volume or mass. And then this data is going to be organized into tables or charts or graphs to provide a quick visual for the reader to look at. And then there will be another section called results, which is kind of missing here, which will analyze your data. So data is simply writing down all your observations. You're not providing any kind of explanation. The results is where you're kind of explaining or analyzing your data. Conclusion is the most important part of the experiment, as far as I'm concerned, because in the conclusion, you are going to write whether your data, your results are supporting your hypothesis or disproving your hypothesis, and why. Okay. And the most important part for me here is for you to make those connections between the content learned, the reason for the experiment, and what could be some real world examples where you could apply this experiment. For example, if you are determining the pH of a solution, right? What could be some of the real world examples in terms of nursing and health, especially nursing and health, so that it makes this experiment and the content you learned from the experiment relevant to what you're going to be doing in future. Okay, so this is really the most important part, and you should put some time into writing up a good conclusion. Do the research needed to find good real world examples where you're making those connections between what you learned and what could be applied in the future. So that's the scientific method. Again, as I said, it's very it's a small page. I mean, it's just a page of information, and you can scroll through it and apply it when you're doing your lab write-up. So then coming back to Canvas and going into modules, here you can see that I have the labs organized, and under each set, under each lab section, you have a PowerPoint, which again I'm going to do a voiceover video about the PowerPoint. And most of the time when I am making these lab videos, it's just kind of walking through these PowerPoints. And then I also have the lab manual and the assignment pertaining to lab 1. Again, this is not where, Canvas is not where you are doing your assignment. All of your assignments are being done on late night labs. The grading is done on late night labs. I then transfer those grades into Canvas. However, everything to do with the labs is done on the Late Night Labs website and not on Canvas. All right. Just in case you do have some difficulties, I've provided you with an additional resource about how to access the lab manual and the pertinent assignment in case you wanted to hand me a hard copy of your assignment. Now, this is in only extreme cases where you had some problem and you were not able to access late night labs. Okay, so I do have, for every lab I have a PowerPoint, and the lab videos would be based off these PowerPoints. Okay, all right, so that's the end of this video. This is, as I said, all about the class in Canvas.